Welcome, folks, to this episode of Folks Unfettered. Today is January 31st, 2024, the last day of the first month of the new year. Let me ask a question. New year, new music, new us? Take a listen to our brand new intro. Just for a second. So like I said, it's the last day of the first month of 2024. You know, the champagne hangovers have long since subsided, or maybe not in some cases. And we're well into the new year. Resolutions in hand and minds hopefully open. So I took this first month to recalibrate, reconnect, and renew my commitment to bringing you better content, more engaging interviews, and a more interactive experience. Now, if you stuck around and listened to our intro, you'll notice we have a brand new sound. It's entitled Grand Rising. It's an original piece, and I'm grateful to musician and DJ extraordinaire L. Gardner, who also happens to be an Army veteran representing Brooklyn, New York. He created this sound for us. In fact, DJ L will be sharing his music with us on an upcoming episode featuring artists and creators. Now, in this episode, as the month is closed and we begin to walk right into February, by now you may well be into your resolutions, or not, which we're not just going to talk about new beginnings, but we're going to question them. Are New Year's resolutions just societal pressure masquerading as self-improvement? Or are they a chance to truly shed our skin and embrace the possibilities? Setting resolutions versus establishing new habits is the focus of our conversation today. So join me as we dissect this Janus-faced tradition, because we're going to discuss how to form habits that help you realize your goals and embrace change. And we dash a healthy dose of skepticism about resolutions. Secondly, how to avoid being a serial and self-proclaimed resolution enthusiast. And third, how to remain optimistic and maintain enthusiasm in order to reach your goal by year's end. So buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive into the whole idea of sustainable reinvention. But as always on the channel, we're going to dig into the anatomy of a resolution. This is where we're going to start our discussion, which is going to focus on the history and the psychology of resolutions, which is something we always do here on the channel. So recently I read an article entitled The Psychology Behind New Year's Resolutions by Leona Carter, PhD, and she explores the following: the history and cultural significance of New Year's resolutions, the psychological drive for New Year's resolutions, the impact of social and environmental factors, the role of habit formation and willpower, and the strategies for effective resolution setting. So, I don't know about you, but if you're like me, I've had my experiences with resolutions, both successful and disastrous. And we're going to explore the cultural pressure and social influence surrounding resolutions. So, New Year's resolutions date back to ancient civilizations. It's believed to have started in Babylonia, when the Babylonians would make promises to their gods every year. It's believed to have started in springtime and was paired with the Babylonian Akutu festival. They would also return borrowed tools, supplies, and equipment. Note to those who've borrowed anything from me. But the tradition has transformed over the centuries, absorbing the cultural and societal nuances as society evolved, moving away from seeking to appease deities and making it more about individual well-being and personal growth. The idea is to improve oneself and to encourage others in an effort to better, themselves or ourselves in the world. So ultimately, making a New Year's resolution became a global phenomenon. When we set resolutions, we're essentially aligning our actions with our deeper values and personal goals, fulfilling a fundamental psychological desire for growth and self-improvement, as Dr. Carter noted in her article. It seems we all have a deep desire for renewal, restating our purpose and our values. Whenever we talk about resolutions, this seems to be an accepted narrative. However, should we consider reframing this narrative? So let's dig into that. Here's a question that I want you to ponder. Are resolutions inherently bad, or can they be a force for good? Some psychologists have suggested alternative approaches to self-improvement, like focusing on small, sustainable changes, while others have gained that resolutions can be powerful motivators, provided their approach with flexibility and self-compassion. What is important to take away from these discussions is the importance of identifying personal values and aligning goals with those values. Now, before I get into talking about going beyond resolutions, I want to really dig into, well, just my thoughts on the matter. This is all fine and good. I don't want to give the episode away. But anyway, a resolution is a commitment to oneself, to where we want to do better. There's obviously something that has been in our life that we want to work on, to improve, or to stop doing. And there's been a lot of research about this idea of making these commitments to doing better. And when we think about a resolution, we set one time aside a year to make a commitment to doing something better. And I'm not necessarily sure that we need to do that. When we look at the percentages of people that are able to get to the end of the year, having fulfilled the resolutions that they made at the beginning of the year, we find that the number of people that have done that compared to the number of people that have made the resolutions is drastically different and is a low percentage. And so that leads us right into going beyond resolutions. I think I did pretty well in not giving that away, where I personally feel about that. But we want to redefine resolutions. We want to ditch the pressure of rigid goals and embracing flexible intentions that adapt to, the untethered year. We want to embrace the unknown. We want to learn how to navigate uncertainty with curiosity and courage, finding opportunities in the midst of change. If you're a follower of the channel, you'll hear me talk about change almost at every episode, because it is the one thing that, quite frankly, we have to embrace, because it's coming whether we like it or not. And then we want to utilize the power of community. We want to learn how to connect with others, whether online and offline. And by doing so, they can fuel our own untethered journeys. Because one of the things about resolutions is the fact of the matter is, or one of the things about changing habits is a lot of times we feel like we're the only ones that may have these struggles with certain bottlenecks in our lives. And when you connect yourself to a community or like-minded individuals, you'll find people that you can assist and help along in their journey as you are. And you can connect yourself to people that are further along in their journey that can actually assist and help you. And that's the power of community. The other thing too is we want to take small steps, but with big leaps. And so there are some practical tips and strategies for making real progress on our dreams, even when the world feels a little wobbly, right? And once we do this, what we'll find is that there are unexpected joys, and we can celebrate the serendipitous moments that make the untethered year an adventure. These are just a few of the things that I want you to keep in mind when considering resolutions this year and for years yet to come. And I guess what I kind of slid in there was we're really not talking about resolutions. We are really talking about reframing and setting habits. In a previous episode last year, we talked about the bottlenecks in our life. And the only way that we're going to be able to unclog those bottlenecks is to first identify that we have a problem and then look for ways to unclog those bottlenecks. And the only way that we can do that is by setting healthier habits. And instead of having the goal of by the end of the year, I want to lose this amount of weight, focus more on the process, right? Is incorporating those habits so that by the time you get at the end of the year, you may find that as you focus on the journey as opposed to the destination, that you have not only met, but possibly exceeded your goal. This is what we have to remember when we continue having broader conversations about change and reinvention and how to develop personal strategies for growth and self-discovery. We can't forget the importance of embracing imperfection and learning from our failures. And I tell you this, so I've been fairly athletic the majority of my life. And I've been blessed in some ways, even given some injuries that I've sustained as a veteran. But I've been able to incorporate habits that have allowed me to not only manage pain, but even though I've had to make those iterative small gains, what I have found is instead of focusing on the end goal and learning how to embrace those habits, that I have exceeded my goals almost every single time. And then it becomes automated. It becomes familiar. It becomes comfortable. It becomes a part of my life. And that when I am without it, it doesn't make me feel good. I recognize and realize that something's missing. So if you're looking for a new year, if you're looking for a new you, as you step into your life for this year, focus less on making these large, grandiose statements about what you want to accomplish this year, and instead set a target and then focus not only on the target, but focus on all of those steps that we mentioned earlier in this episode that will help you reach your target and make them a part of your life every day. Be flexible because you're going to have setbacks. And instead of allowing a setback to stop you, take it for what it is, get back up, and take the next step forward. That's the only way you change habits. It doesn't matter if you're trying to lose 50 pounds or if you're going to the gym or if you're looking for a career change or if you're trying to improve relationships. It literally takes a small step and not being so hard on yourself because you haven't necessarily attained or reached the goal that you have set for yourself by a certain day or a certain time. So focus more on the habits, and the goals will become less monumental, and you will be surprised about everything that you can get accomplished in your life. One of the things here at the channel that I have really focused on, and why it has taken me the month of January to put an episode together, was because like I said in the beginning, I wanted to recalibrate. Because as I reviewed our previous year, I realized that I was focused on subscribers, likes, and content, and being critical of how I presented the content. And somewhere along the way, I lost the joy that comes with sharing this information. That even if just one person listens to the podcast or one person subscribes to our YouTube channel, we've changed one life. And I've forgotten that process. And so I needed some time to focus on what was important to us here. How you doing? Good. And so, there you have it, folks. Step into 2024 with a spirit of boldness. Be flexible. Embrace change. Be the driver along your journey. I think that's about it. So thank you for joining us here on Folks Unfettered. And as always, I'm that brother of light, dropping wisdom in your left ear and knowledge in your right. See you next time.